A 17% tariff just hit Mexican tomatoes, and now your guacamole, your pasta sauce, and even your BLT might be in trouble. Why? Because Mexico is looking east to Japan, China, and Europe, just as US tomato prices start to spike. So, could America be heading toward a tomato shortage? Let's break it down. For decades, the United States and Mexico maintained a fragile truce over tomato trade. It was called the Tomato Suspension Agreement, a deal that kept Mexican tomato prices stable and US producers somewhat protected. But in July 2025, everything changed. The US Department of Commerce officially withdrew from the agreement, citing complaints from Florida growers who argued that Mexico was dumping tomatoes at unfairly low prices. The result? A new tariff of around 17% was slapped onto all Mexican tomato exports. Florida's tomato lobby celebrated, but grocery stores across the US are warning, you're going to pay more. Mexico's response came quickly and from the top. President Claudia Sheinbaum took the microphone just days after the announcement.
Estados Unidos, el consumidor de Estados Unidos, el pueblo de Estados Unidos, jitomate se usa en Estados Unidos muchísimo. No hay sustitución en este momento del jitomate mexicano.
And she has a point. Mexico supplies up to 90% of the fresh tomatoes Americans consume during the winter months. From vine-ripe and Roma tomatoes to cherry and grape varieties, Mexico is the lifeblood of the US tomato supply. But Sheinbaum didn't stop there. She also revealed that her administration is exploring new markets, saying,
Exportamos a Japón jitomate. Se está viendo la posibilidad que se amplíe la exportación y hay otros países también donde exportamos. Se están viendo todas las opciones.
In other words, the US may not remain Mexico's top customer for long. Meanwhile, back in the US, things are already heating up. Grocery stores are preparing for price increases of 6 to 10%, especially on fresh tomatoes used in salads, sauces, and sandwiches. Restaurants in California, Texas, and New York are bracing for higher costs, especially those relying on high-quality tomatoes year-round. And if Mexico decides to shift even a fraction of its exports to other countries, the US could face real scarcity. One agricultural analyst put it this way: if Mexico moves just 25% of its tomato exports elsewhere, there's no way the US can fill that gap. California and Florida simply don't have the production volume to compete. Now, this isn't the first time tomato tensions have flared. Trade disputes over tomatoes go back decades, but this one feels different. For one, the global market is more competitive. Countries like Japan and China are eager to secure steady food imports, and Mexican tomatoes offer exactly that: affordable, year-round, and high quality. Second, Sheinbaum is under pressure to protect Mexican farmers, who grow billions of dollars worth of tomatoes each year and employ tens of thousands of workers. In a recent press conference, she made it clear: we won't sit on our hands. If there's no solution, we'll take action to protect our producers. She's already announced talks with Asian and European trade partners, and her government is exploring subsidies, export credits, and logistics partnerships to reroute tomato flows if needed. So what happens next? Right now, Mexico and the US are back at the negotiating table. A new deadline, August 1st, has been set for resolving the dispute. If no agreement is reached, Mexico could formally escalate the matter at the World Trade Organization, or begin to redirect exports permanently. Some insiders are even warning that the tariff could be raised further, to 30% or more, if tensions continue to rise. And if that happens, well, don't be surprised if tomatoes become the new avocado. For now, Sheinbaum says exports to the US will continue, at least in the short term, but the message is clear. Mexico is no longer relying on just one market. It's building alternatives, and that could change North America's food economy for good. So what do you think? Will the US wake up too late to its dependence on Mexican produce? Or will this tariff backfire and trigger shortages on grocery shelves? Let us know in the comments, and if you want to stay updated on this story, hit that subscribe button. Because the tomato war is just getting started.